Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sergeant K's Corner. I just want to welcome everybody in, and naturally I'm going to discuss a little bit of a hot topic and talk about it and back it up a little bit with some Bible and some repercussions of things. Um, you know, we live in a ever-changing, continually super nuts world that has just lost its mind. The last couple of weeks, this whole thing with this guy, this Dylan Mulvaney, who people are calling a she or a her. It's not a she or a her. Dylan Mulvaney was a terrible actor who, gosh, did the guy ever do anything notably? I mean, I just don't think so. Yeah. So what initially brought my attention to this was apparently Nike Sports Bras decided they were going to use this guy for a spokesperson, a trans spokesperson. He's just a guy that is basically kind of a drag queen. I mean, he hasn't even really done anything trans. He's just living, he's got all his male parts, but he's just dressing like a girl. I guess that's his whole thing, is this 365 days of being a girl. Yeah, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. I don't like what he does. I think what he's doing is disgusting. And that's to be nice about it. But, folks, being what he is wrong. It's a mental illness, and these companies have got to just stop. So Budweiser then announces that he's going to be their spokesperson, and initially, they were putting him on Bud Light cans. And then they backtracked and they said that, they were had just made a limited number of these cans and they were really a gift for him and they were sending them just to him. And it started, it started a backlash. And I'm looking at a news article from Fox News. Anheuser-Busch sheds roughly $5 billion with a B in value since Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney pact sparked outrage. Now, I have seen everything from people machine gunning Bud Light, cases of Bud Light, to people running unbelievable amount of cases of Bud Light, running them over with a piece of road construction equipment with the big steel tire that they use to flatten. I forget what they call them, but it's got that big steel front tire they use to flatten blacktop with when they're in a road construction zone. And so I've seen the video of them running over case after case after case of Bud Light. And I mean, they had them all laid out, and butted up against each other, and they just started running that thing back and forth over it, and, cans of exploding beer and things of that type. And, Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch are trying to backtrack, and, now Anheuser-Busch today, my wife just read me the news statement, says that, this was never approved by upper management. Get out of here with that. Okay? If so, the CEO should be fired, because then you have no idea what's going on in your companies. Really? You want us to believe that? Well, you must think your customers are stupid. Now, let me first say this. Just because I don't agree with Dylan Mulvaney, or other Americans don't agree with Dylan Mulvaney, does not mean that we are transphobic. It does not mean we are homophobic. Okay, the word phobia indicates a fear. Okay, my wife, for example, is an extreme arachnophobe. She has a fear of spiders, a really bad fear of spiders. I'm not afraid of Dylan Mulvaney. It's just that what he does is wrong. What he's doing is wrong. And it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to women. Really? He's going to be the one that's going to be the spokesperson for sports bras for women. He doesn't have breasts. Why would you do that, Nike? We went shopping yesterday, by the way. We had to go to the store and pick up some clothing items for my daughter and my grandson. And there was a bunch of Nike stuff. They had a big sale going on. Passed it right by. Passed it right by, and we'll continue to pass it on by. You know, the only thing that these major corporations understand is money. That's all they understand. They are for-profit corporations, and that's what they do. They're all about the bottom line. They're all about the dollar, okay? That's what they're in business to do. They're in business to make money, okay? So let's be clear on that. And that's okay, because the people they employ prosper with the prosperity of the company. You know, if you have a company and the company is doing well, your job is pretty much secured. If the company is not doing well, they start with layoffs, a la Chrysler, a la Jeep, a la all of the businesses that have laid off. You know, and nowadays, everybody thinks that they're doing something wonderful by paying $15 an hour. Never mind that inflation cancels out any of the $15 an hour minimum wage that a lot of employers are voluntarily paying, but I digress. Look, women are women. They have breasts, they have uteruses, they have vaginas, they have ovaries, they are built differently than we guys are, thankfully. And for a guy to run around, I mean, I looked this Dylan Mulvaney up and I saw some of his videos. This guy is not, I couldn't even categorize him as trans, more of like a flamer. And I have never seen any girl or woman act the way he acts. Okay? Women tend to be a lot more respectful of themselves, not so flighty, not so airheaded. Yeah, I've never seen girls act and behave the way he has. So it's just his idea of what it is. It's I think he needs some therapy, and I think all trans people need therapy. And if you're asking me, well, how do you know that? Well, because I've known a couple of them, and both of them took their own lives. Because they had issues, they had mental illness, which was causing the whole trans thing. And one of them was influenced by the LGBTQ group out of the university that he was going to. He was fine before that. Fine before that. And after he got introduced to that group is when things started to change. But getting back to it, men are not women. Women are not men. I don't know how many times I can get on and say this. I don't know how many times I can say men competing in women's sports should not be happening. Men prancing around, pretending that that's the way women behave, is disrespectful. He will never be a woman, even if he has the surgery. He's not going to be a woman. He will be a man who has had his body mutilated. You know, I read the news and I look at it and I see interviews with some of these young people that have started to trans and have gone through portions of surgery and stuff like that. I mean, come on. How insane is the world that we affirm this stuff? You know, they claim that it's gender dysphoria. They have a problem. They have a problem when they can't even be comfortable in their own skin. That's an issue. And changing there, chopping off penises and yanking out vaginas is not the way to do this. It doesn't get to the root of the problem. All it does is change the outer shell. It's like changing the paint on a car. because the car doesn't run right. You haven't fixed the car, you just changed the color. And what they're doing is immoral, and what they're doing is inappropriate, and what they're doing is against God. Definitely against God. And I'm not saying this because I'm a hater. I don't hate anybody. But you cannot expect myself or other people to bite off on ridiculousness or to bite off on participating in your sin. Don't ask me to participate in and say that it's okay for somebody to use drugs. It's not. Don't ask me to participate or say that it's okay for somebody to abuse their spouse or to abuse their children. It's not. This is no different. I'm speaking out against this just as I would speak out against those things. Again, I'm not a hater. I don't hate anybody. I won't treat anybody poorly, but I'm not going to agree with that particular lifestyle. It's wrong. And I'm going to go to the Bible, to the first chapter of Romans. And I'm starting at Romans 24. It says, therefore, God also gave them up to uncleanliness. Blah, blah, I got tongue-tied on that. In the lusts of their hearts to dishonor their bodies among themselves, who exchanged the truth of God, for the lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason God gave them up to vile passions. For even their women exchanged the natural use for what is against nature. Likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lusts for one another, men with men, committing what is shameful, and receiving themselves the penalty of their error which was due. That doesn't just cover homosexuality, folks. That covers the transgender, that covers, it's not natural to want to have sex with a child. It covers all of that. And people need to particularly Christians, because Christians are afraid to speak out. Why? The only thing, like I said, that these corporations understand is when you stop purchasing their stuff. As from the news article I just read you from the internet, Anheuser-Busch's value, their worth dropped $5 billion. Billion with a B. I think that's traders and the public letting them know we're not biting off on this either. I hope the similar happens to Nike. This whole woke thing and these companies, in fact, there is a list of companies out there that support the woke agenda, one of which is Walmart. I was really disappointed to see that. Pretty much you knew that Target did. I don't shop at Target. I just can't agree with them politically, and Target doesn't care about anything but the buck. Neither does Walmart. Okay, neither does Anheuser-Busch. But come on, Anheuser-Busch, really? Bud Light, it's a terrible beer. It's a terrible beer. And it is a beer for college students. It is a beer for frats. It is a beer for people who don't know any better. And you're not going to be reaching these younger people. These younger people these days that want to go out and drink beer, they're drinking all of these specialty beers. Because it's the thing to do these days. And hopefully they're smart enough not to overdo it. And then turn around and drive or overdo it and get themselves hurt or hurt somebody else. But this whole thing with Dylan Mulvaney and these other trans people wanting to invade and have us affirm their lifestyle for them. No. Not going to happen. You are not women. You will never be women. You have no business participating in women's sports. You have no business imitating women. You have no business acting like a fool and parading around and trying to make people think that this is the normal behavior of a woman. I have never seen a woman do some of the gallivanting and parading around that this Dylan Mulvaney guy does in his videos. But we want to affirm this? No, I'm sorry. I have too much respect for my wife. I have too much respect for women. I have 4 daughters. Not just my wife, but I have 4 daughters. And I have seen my daughters have babies. I've seen my daughters take care of their families. I've seen them go through some things. And you know what? Guys, we can't understand that. And they say, well, you're one of those guys that believes, men are superior and blah, 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 blah. No. I believe that men and women are equal. There is a reason why God created Eve from Adam's rib, from his side. You are equal, but you play a different role. Each of us plays a different role, and that role is equally as important as the other. It's not less. I've pointed that out in my previous podcasts, that women are not less. But you know what? When we have guys who are competing in women's sports because they couldn't compete in men's sports, and because they want to dress like women, even in the libraries, story time with drag queens. Are you kidding me? Really? Why don't we have story time with anybody? Story time with Bozo the Clown. I mean, I know Bozo's not around anymore. Story time with an astronaut. Story time with the mayor. Story time with anybody. Story time with drag queens. Talk about indoctrination. And that's all this stuff is. It's indoctrination. It's trying to push the agenda. The school boards, I said it before. The schools, you need to worry about reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and physical education. I've said that before. But this whole thing with this transgender and making it up like it's something to be normalized, or something to be celebrated, no, it's not. These people need help. These people need Jesus. They need the gospel of Christ. They need to understand what's been done for them and that they're going in the wrong direction. And, as far as these doctors, these Frankenstein doctors who are performing these surgeries, I have to believe there's a very special place for you. When you took that Hippocratic oath, you said you would do no harm. You're mutilating people. You're mutilating people, and you're not helping them to solve their emotional and mental issues. You're changing the paint on the car. I don't understand. There's 2 kinds of doctors I don't understand. One is an abortion doctor. I don't understand how you can be an abortion doctor. And I don't understand how you can be one of these doctors that's doing transgender stuff. And before you let any of these Frankensteins talk you into doing that kind of thing, in the event that we should have somebody watching or listening to the podcast, go online, go to the library, and research what exactly is going to happen to you. Go online and research exactly what's going to happen to you. If you don't feel good about yourself now, you're not going to feel good about yourself down the road when you see and read about what's going to happen to you. And as far as the laws in the different states saying that parents can't stop their underage kids from, having a gender change surgery, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's government control. That's wrong. That's the government saying, I'm a better parent than you are. And no, it isn't. The government can't even balance a budget, much less parent. The government can't even do anything about a guy like Putin, much less parent. The government can't even do anything about guys like Biden and Trump and some of these others who've been caught with classified documents. Oh, and now we've got one coming out of the Pentagon, much less parent. If you can't keep those things safe, how do they expect us to trust that they're going to keep our kids safe? And I'm sorry, but allowing children who are 10 years old, who are just done playing with Barbies and Tonka trucks and stuff like that, to make a decision that's going to affect them like that, nope. They don't have any life experience. But I hope I've stirred you up. I hope I got you thinking about some things. I hope you won't buy anything that Dylan Mulvaney advertises. You can look up a list online of woke companies. A lot of them are makeup companies, believe it or not. I'm just going to sign off for now. I'm going to say God bless. Stay in your word. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.